Regardless of your skill level in League of Legends, you were low elo at one point or another. Everyone starts around silver and either becomes a superstar, a super dud, or super average. Although that's the case, there are a lot of things even high elo players wish they knew when they were low elo. With some input from our various ProGuides coaches, who are always ready to help you improve your game, we came up with 10 key tips for low elo players. Also, if you're looking for a place to best keep up with general meta changes, or you just want to talk about the things you wish you knew when you were low elo, why not join the ProGuides League of Legends Discord? We'll be sharing all of our YouTube uploads so you'll never miss a beat, while providing a space for League players of all types. Check out the link in the description below. Before we get started, our question of the day is, which champion did you first master? Bonus points if the answer isn't Yasuo. Let us know all your answers in the comments, and without further delay, let's get into it. Number 1. When to abandon fundamentals to force plays. We've always taught you to avoid taking fights past minion waves or to establish minion wave control before pushing in for vision. But sometimes the winning play is different from the textbook one. Sometimes, regardless if you're winning or losing, a play is just too good not to make. In these situations, you might have to abandon your fundamentals in order to look for that momentum-swinging fight or pick. Desperate times often call for desperate measures, especially in League of Legends. Let's imagine a common situation. The enemy team just pushed in both solo lanes and are rotating quickly to Baron with Azir and Varus ready to burn it down. Instead of clearing out the waves and pushing them back like you normally would, your team should force a rotation to react to the Baron immediately. This is a very specific situation, but it can also be applied to contesting smaller objectives such as blue buff or scuttlecraft. Of course, this is all based around judgment calls. Remember to consider the gain-loss ratio when you're going for Hail Mary plays to save the game. Number 2, how to improve. There are a lot of videos out there detailing fancy tips and tricks on how to improve and climb solo queue. These videos are great for getting new ideas and thinking about how you play the game, but ultimately they lack a bit of structure on how to actively improve your game. That's why we're going to provide a quick outline on how to improve on your improvement. Identify the problem. If you don't know what your problem is, try comparing your overall gameplay to that of a high elo player. There will be a lot of things done differently, but oftentimes CSing, map awareness, trade patterns, and mechanical execution are at the top of the list. Finding a solution to your problem. For example, if you have trouble with mechanical execution, it might be time to grind some abilities in the practice tool. You don't know how many hours I spent practicing Lee Sin kicks in custom games before I finally got that insect just right. Extra tools to pinpoint problems. This can include reviewing your replays, serious 1v1s with similarly ranked players to learn matchups, or getting a ProGuides coach to help identify your problems and get you on the right track. A second opinion never hurts and almost always helps. The final step in the improvement process is incorporating your solutions. Consciously apply the things you've learned in your everyday gameplay until it becomes natural. From there, take notes on what's working and continue to pick out what isn't. Always look to revise your play. It'll never be perfect, even if you're a challenger. Number 3, playing in the future instead of playing in the present. One of our ProGuides coaches, Tony Saskia Chow, had to put in a word here. After coaching many students on ProGuides, I've noticed that many players were often playing the game based on what they see in front of them. This type of reactive play often resulted in rushed decision-making that only led to poor mechanical execution and a general mismanagement of resources. Lately, I've incorporated playing in the future into my coaching fundamentals as a concept illustrating how you anticipate your opponent's gameplay and how to plan the appropriate action. Bringing the video back, the whole point of this concept is to stop reacting to everything that is happening and to start preparing yourself for what will or may happen in a matter of seconds or minutes. Your decision making will see immediate improvement if you think more about your options in advance. Here's an example. You're playing Renekton against Aatrox and Elise. You notice that Elise is starting on the bottom side of the map because Aatrox shows in lane right away. Now, you think into the future and expect Elise to gank top at level 3 around the 3rd minion wave. You plan on taking small trades with Ruthless Predator and Slice and Dice for the first 2 levels against Aatrox to keep him off the wave, while stacking it and zoning him. During this time, you know you will get ganked, and keep your cooldowns up while building your fury up to 80. When Aatrox and Elise start fighting you in your big minion wave, you immediately flash onto the Aatrox and burst him down, reaching level 3 and regenerating health from Triumph before turning onto Elise for the 1v2 double kill. If you manage to stay with us for that minion stacking monologue, congratulations, you too can be a godlike top laner. We specifically wrote out this situation, but realistically, you need this type of foresight for every situation in League of Legends. to give yourself the most options possible. People often conflate reaction time with talent or raw ability, but the right amount of planning can make up for anything. Faker's a god, but he's still planning every single step in his head along the way. You need to too. Number 4, don't worry about your elo. Lose is improve. We get it, sometimes you're afraid to play ranked because of trolls, leavers, griefers, and even challenger smurfs. Losing elo isn't fun, but you need to play more games to have a better understanding of where your skill currently lies. Actively playing ranked is also the only way you'll ever improve. Ignore all the naysayers who laugh at your elo loss. If you really can't escape the anxiety that comes with people seeing your ranked history, try creating a second account where you can give it your best. Remember, it's not how many times you get knocked down, it's how many times you get back up that counts. So get out there and start climbing. Before you know it, your friends will still be stuck in gold while you're pushing diamond for the first time. 5. Stop worrying about what others think in-game. This one goes hand in hand with the last point and is fairly quick and simple. Stop worrying about what other people think, especially in-game. Realistically, the chance of anyone in your game having any constructive feedback amidst a storm of spam pings and hate speech is pretty unlikely. Instead of allocating your precious brain power toward responding or reading their vitriol, mute all and focus on what you can do to win. Also, remember to follow your line of play. No matter how much pressure anyone puts on you, going with your gut and learning from your mistakes will always be more fruitful than being leashed around like a dog. Trust me, in the long run, you will improve much faster. 6. Tracking the enemy jungler. I really wish someone had taught me this when I first started playing ranked. After playing a lot of ranked games, you'll start to notice that both junglers take a very linear path. This allows you to create a game plan that always has you out on top. Regardless of the role, here is the common path that most junglers will take. Junglers will usually start bot side and path towards top side. After clearing their top side jungle, they will usually go for a gank in either top or mid lane. This is where you apply the play in the future concept and create a plan that allows you to either avoid the gank or outplay the gank in question. After the topside play, Scuttle Crab may or may not have been contested. After that, both junglers reset and generally start moving toward bot side around 4:35, where they will clear one camp and look for a gank bot. Regardless of what role you're playing, you should have a really good idea where the enemy jungler is for the first 5 minutes of every game, depending on where they started. And yes, there are quirky players who gank immediately after taking red buff or jump over a wall and steal your jungler's buff, but these are pretty rare circumstances. If for whatever reason you play against the same quirky player, just ward and be ready to counter, because that type of play only works with the element of surprise. 7. Watch better players and learn how and why they do things. Learning by example is always good, and what can possibly be a better example than high elo players themselves? We're not going to get into the nitty-gritty, but you want to closely watch the actions of high elo players and how they interact with the game around them. If you're watching a stream, the player might even explain their thought processes to everyone in the chat, and if they don't, you can always ask. Always look for knowledge whenever you can. 8. Do not duo queue. This one's straightforward, and for some, a hard pill to swallow. Sometimes the person you're duo queuing with just doesn't have the same ambition as you, and maybe they do, but sometimes they don't improve as fast either. In these situations, you end up having to drag your duo partner across the finish line, making elo gains more difficult than they have to be. And even if that isn't the case, relying on a duo queue partner will ultimately stunt your growth as a player. Playing by yourself will force you to think about how to win games on your own, speeding up the improvement process. Duo queuing can be fun, but don't use it as the backbone of your climbing experience. Number 9. Learning when and how to push leads. Gaining a lead is one thing, anyone can get kills or more CS, but properly using it to progress the game is an important skill to have in solo queue. Depending on the champion you're playing and what your team composition looks like, you want to create a plan to push your own lead and make the best decisions you can. It's these moments when you want to take notes on what's worked and what hasn't. These are the crucial moments where you can learn and gain experience from. Once you learn how to close out games, climbing the solo queue ladder becomes a piece of cake. Number 10. Read every single item in League of Legends and learn just how much the components cost. This tip is a 2-for-1 special. The first tip doesn't require any skill, but it does require the time allocation to study and memorize key numbers in the game. Read every item in the game and learn what it does. Understand their stats, their active abilities, and small interactions that will help you visualize what items you need to buy in certain situations. Fun fact, did you know that Liandry's Torment's passive does more damage if the target is slowed or CC'd? Pair that up with Rylai's Crystal Scepter and you have an AP-based tank shredding combination. The second tip is based around knowing how much everything costs. We've all been there, spending 30 seconds in base while thinking about what item we have to buy. Sometimes after all that thinking, you don't even have the necessary gold for what you want. Knowing the cost of items will make it that much easier to visualize your build paths and back timing in lane. Sometimes you just need to greed for that extra minion to hit your item power spike at the right time, whether it's just for laning or a meaningful team fight. That concludes our video on all things we wish we knew when we were low elo. Thank you so much for watching. If you guys want more content to help you improve, check out ProGuides.com, where we've teamed up with pro players to create guides designed to take your game to the next level. Also, keep an eye out on our YouTube channel, where we're constantly uploading new content just like this. Good luck out there on the Rift, everyone, and we'll see y'all next time.